Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. David, I don't know why I've got the earpiece in. Sorry I'm late if we're watching live. It's been a right pain today. Friday the 13th probably is about right. But David De Gea will sign or has signed a new contract with Manchester United. This is the breaking news that we have for you. And it's very interesting news because it's coming from Duncan Castles. And if you remember Duncan Castles, he was always Jose Mourinho's mouthpiece really, and since Mourinho's left it's a little bit, well, is he right, is he not right? He jumps very early. He would definitely not win a 100 metres race because he runs and jumps too early, and he did it with Wan-Bissaka and he did it with Harry Maguire way too early, but he's ultimately does tend to be quite right. And what he's saying is that Manchester United have caved in. They've given David De Gea the contract that he wants, and he will be signing a 4-year contract with the option of a further year. And I would go back to what I've been saying. You know, there's been stories coming out for the last 2 weeks that Manchester United would be maybe losing David De Gea. Manchester United, have left it too late, and I think in some ways they have. But if David De Gea signs this contract at Manchester United, then I think he's doing it because he loves the club. Because, to be honest with you, as I said this morning on the press conference with Ollie, the point remains that look at Manchester United. I mean, we're going to look at that team on the left in a minute. We've obviously got the weekend to come. I don't think that the board have done anywhere near enough for a new manager. But keeping David De Gea, and David De Gea actually staying, it's not about keeping David De Gea. David De Gea could easily decide to stay and walk away. Decide to walk away. In January, he could talk to any club in Europe. And next summer he can go anywhere he wants and earn a lot of money. So to stay at Manchester United and to sign a long-term contract, to me, shows the passion and attachment he has to this club. And remember the fax machine, and remember the fact that he wanted to go back to Madrid. And here he is still in Manchester about to sign a massive contract. So look, it's a much-needed boost. It is a much-needed boost for Manchester United. When they'll officially announce it, Maybe they'll do it over the weekend, maybe they'll do it early next week. But if Duncan Castles is coming out and saying, look, it's about to be signed, to be honest with you, I've been on that page for, I don't know how long I've been on that page. I think I've been saying it for a good 6, 7, 8 weeks now, that De Gea will stay. So I've always felt that he would. I've always been told that he would. Of course, there's always a problem that he might leave. But to be honest with you, I mean, this is a boost for Manchester United, and it is a much-needed boost. Is it reliable, says Big Z? I think he is. I think Duncan Castles is reliable. He tends to be jump a little bit too early, but I don't think he'd get something like that. He's not the sort of person I think is going to blatantly put something like that out on a Friday night and then be proved wrong. I think this is information that he's received. And to be honest with you, that is a lot of the rumours coming out of Manchester United for a long time now, that is that De Gea would stay. I think the only concern is, until it's official, people are thinking, well, look, the more bad results we have, the more he might just say, I'm not going to sign it. But look, De Gea, Manchester United, keeping him is a big boost for us. Mark, De Gea loves money, no players love the club, says Zane Miassi. Well, if he loved money, Zane, you've just made yourself look a prime idiot there. I mean, you have good nights and bad nights, and tonight, Zane, you've won the Idiot of the Night award, haven't you? De Gea loves money, not clubs. If he loves money, the best option is to wait until January, when nobody's got to pay you £80 million because that's what you're worth, and you get all that money in your pocket. So if De Gea really loved money, he wouldn't sign the contract, because he'd make a lot more money next summer going as a free agent to wherever he wants to go. Dave is staying. He loves us. He wants a statue, says Muffy. Well, look, De Gea staying at Manchester United is a big positive, but that's not what I was going to talk tonight about. I think it's great that De Gea is going to stay. It's what I expected. I know some of you were a bit negative about it. Let's wait for the official announcement, but yeah, it's definitely going to come. Do you think De Gea will start playing better, says Daniel Evans? I think, look, it's not easy. It's not so easy just to switch a switch, is it? We want De Gea to play well. I thought he started the season quite well. The captain's armband needs to be on him. Don't know why it went to Ashley Young last week, because he's the bloody club captain. He's crap. Give the captaincy to David De Gea. Give it to somebody who deserves it. Ashley Young doesn't deserve the captaincy. He's not been that good a player for us. He's certainly not been a good player for a long time. And he's not going to be here for a long time. So give De Gea the captaincy, and I think it focuses his mind more. So, but yeah, we do need De Gea back to his best. And I certainly don't want... What I never wanted with De Gea was De Gea goes and we get fed the crap that I can see people are talking in the live comments. We could have got Oblak. Oh yeah, like we could have got Fernandes or Ericsson or Longstaff or any other midfielder in the summer to replace Herrera. You need to learn, people. You need to learn that if we lose a good player, we're probably not going to replace them, because that's what we do. So don't even come at me with, oh, I'd rather we got Oblak, because you got no chance. You might get Oblak's mum, but we ain't getting Oblak. So De Gea staying's a big positive for me. Sean Atwood, it's Friday, bottoms up, and let's kick the crap out of some Foxers. That is the nickname of Leicester City Foxers. That he's not going to go out and start kicking them rat things that run around and kill chickens. I think they are descendants of vermin, actually, Foxers. But look, fox hunting's illegal. Apart from tomorrow, because they're called the Foxers, we're in the red. It's a legal form of fox hunting, and we need to go and get a win. And as we move away from David De Gea, because that's sort of breaking news in the last few minutes, so please do smash a like on the video if you're happy that De Gea is staying. Come on, show Dave the love. Let's get 1,000 likes on this video straight away. In fact, I should have said that earlier. We always say that when we get a signing or a new contract. Dave stays. Come on, smash a like on video and show your love for David, because he's showing love for us. He could be walking away and he's going to sign a new contract. But how am I feeling tonight? Because this was meant to be Friday night on the United Stand. Is meant to be laid back Friday night. Let's have a drink. Let's have a chat. And I tell you what a crap day we had. You know what? I want to throw this to you because Russ emailed me about this, and I think he's spot on. He said, "Why is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in his press conference just gone and confirmed everybody's out? Is that naivety again from a naive manager? Because what he should have said is, and I agree with Russ, what he should have said is this morning, we've got a lot of injury concerns, but we'll see how everybody is tomorrow." That means that Brendan Rodgers then doesn't really know whether Pogba's going to play, whether Martial's going to play. He knows now, so the confidence of everybody. The last thing you want is a team to come to Old Trafford confident and ready to express themselves. Leicester City will be pumped tonight. They'll be ready. They'll be knowing they can go to Old Trafford and win, which they very rarely do, and put 6 points between us and them. And I think Russ was right. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer should have stayed quiet about some of those injuries. I mean, it's almost the white flag thing again, isn't it? It's like, I've got all these injuries, putting an excuse up early. But actually, I was about backs to the wall, let's have a scrap here, because I would not have said that Pogba was injured. I would have said, look, we're carrying a lot of knocks, we'll see how everybody is. And when they'd have said specific players, I would have gone, look, we'll see how everybody is. Keep that level of uncertainty there. But is that a level of naivety from the manager? Or am I wrong? Am I fair? Do you think he should be honest about who's in and who's out? I don't think he should have done. One, it makes us less depressed. And we don't have to, at least if we find out at 2 o'clock tomorrow they're not playing, we've only got an hour to panic, whereas we've got all night and everything to panic now. People are saying De Gea is 30 soon, like it is a bad thing. Van der Sar joined United at 34. People need to show De Gea some more respect. That's from T20G. Look, if you think a goalkeeper's old at 30, where have you been? Go and do your research. 30 for a goalkeeper is like 24 for a normal player. It's not even your prime years. Like, 30s are where you come into your primes. So no, it's not a problem at all. But talking about the game tomorrow, how is everybody feeling? Because I'm feeling somewhat. I still feel confident. I'm not like, oh yeah, we're going to smash Leicester, because that's going to end up as a meme. I'm going to look stupid. But I still feel we'll get something tomorrow. Now, that something could be a draw. It could be a scrappy win. I don't think we're going to... I can't see us being comfortable tomorrow. I just can't. I think Leicester are too good and we're too weak. But we are at Old Trafford. We do need a response. And I just feel we'll get something. Maybe the defence will stand up and Leicester won't score. And we'll get a point. Or maybe we'll nick a win. But I do feel we're going to get something tomorrow. And maybe that is absolutely stupid. But I do think we're going to get something tomorrow. But I think the most important thing is, as the Batman channel says, Buffon is 41 and still playing very, very well. The most important thing tomorrow that we need to look for from this team, I may as well talk about this big thing next to me. Hello, how are you doing? How are you doing tonight? Yes, you're not going to talk back to me, are you? That is how a lot of people on social media are predicting Manchester United are going to line up. When I look at it, yeah, we know Young's going to play at left back. That's a weak spot. Ollie almost hinted that Matic and Mata will start, so I've put them into the positions you would expect them to play. If they're going to start, you want them to play in the positions that they're best at. But Mata's best as a number 10 and Matic is a left-sided CDM, so you'd expect McTominay to play with them. Dan James you would expect to play on the left because Rashford's going to play through the middle with no Martial, which means Lingard plays on the right. I would love to see Gomez or Chong or Greenwood start tomorrow. I don't know why I'm doing that, but I would love it. I would bloody love it, people. I love it. I would love it, but I don't expect it. I don't actually think all three of them will even make the bench. I think Greenwood will be on the bench, maybe Chong. I'm not convinced Gomez is going to make the bench. So if that's how Manchester United are going to line up tomorrow, Avik says that no Lingard confirmed. I haven't heard that myself. And if he isn't, I actually would say that's a positive. If Lingard's out of that team, I think we're stronger for whoever comes in, whether it's Chong or Greenwood. I would be excited by that. But he could then bring Pereira in. And if Wan-Bissaka doesn't play, he'll switch Young across and we'll have Rojo at left back. So, I just think at some point he's got to make that leap of faith with the youth, hasn't he? But if that is our team tomorrow, what are your feelings about it? Just give me some comments for a moment. If any, do you expect any transfers in January, says Luke99. Well, I don't like talking about January transfers. Everybody knows I don't really want to talk about it. But I will talk about an article by Robbie Savage, actually, in a minute before we take some of your comments, which sort of feeds into transfers, so we can sort of answer that for you. Gomez and Chong will be in the squad. They aren't in the under-23, says Zephyr Gaming. Oh, I know that. They're definitely going to be in the squad, but just because you're in the squad doesn't mean you make the bench. Gomez, yeah, we know that. There's no Lingard or Wan-Bissaka, says Alioup. Where's this coming from about Lingard being out then? Because I haven't read that. Michael Ames says that De Gea, Sergio Romero and Lee Grant, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Victor Lindelof, Rashford, Dan James. I'm not too sure about that. Mark, when Keane was still at United, I got his autograph when he was having dinner with his family. He gave me the ultimate death stare. You need his mentality back at the club. Yeah, we do need someone like that. It's on Twitter. Shocking team. I wouldn't be able to sleep. Nightmare, says Bo Boomer. But look. If Lingard is out, great. Probably that would make us stronger, I think, because he's playing so badly at the moment. I'm sorry, Jesse, but it's the truth. But talking about what Zane was talking about there, and I think this is really important, whatever the team is tomorrow, right? And you look at, if Ollie's going to go with experience, which I think he clearly is, if he's going to play Young, and Young's going to have his armband on, and if you've got Matic in the midfield, and you've got Mata playing, these are players into their 30s. They've not had 3 months of football. They've had over 10 years. Very experienced players. What we need from Manchester United tomorrow is probably what every one of you in the comments would do if you were playing tomorrow. We need a backbone, we need some vocality, and we need some leadership, because we are weakened. We haven't got our best midfielder in Pogba, we haven't got our best attacker in Martial, and we haven't really got a left back because we've got Ashley Young playing. So there are big weaknesses in that team that Leicester will look to exploit. How do you, if you are fighting a war or you're playing Call of Duty or you're playing FIFA or whatever, and you're down to 10 men, what do you need from your remaining 10 men? You need them to give that extra 10%. You need them to come together. You need, a team performance. And that is something that United, traditionally over the last few years, we've struggled with. We never know what United we're going to get. And tomorrow, if they're going to get a result tomorrow, I'll tell you, Leicester are tasty. Leicester are a tasty team. They'll get in the tackles, they'll be tenacious, and they'll play a game of football. Our only hope tomorrow is that Leicester have a bit of an off day and we match them. And we need some leadership tomorrow. So if he is going to go down this route, and I'm going to be saying this in the match watch along, I'm going to say it after the game in the match reaction. If you're going with experience, they've got to deliver something that experience delivers that youth doesn't. So if he's going to play Matic and Mata, obviously they're slow, but they've got to go and give something that Garner or Gomez wouldn't give. And that's got to be some bloody leadership, which I don't actually think Matic and Mata are leaders. But we need that tomorrow from somebody, well, not somebody, about 7 or 8 of them have got to step up to the plate tomorrow and run through brick walls for that shirt, because otherwise we already know our team's not as good as Leicester's. Ray Cowley says, okay, Ollie's not naive tactically, as said last night, but still naive and needs time to learn. It is his first full season after all. Ray, I agree with you on that. I totally agree with you on that, Ray. But the problem is, I'll come back. I didn't want to say this again, but it's on the podcast. If you've not listened to the podcast, weekly with me and Flex, it's exclusive content on there. We don't mention what's on there, what's on what we do on YouTube. It's an hour. Give it a listen. But what I did say is, I'm going to give you a little bit, is that Flex asked me, at what situation would you be Ollie out? And I said, look, I want to give him time. I really do want to give him time. But if you are mid-table at Christmas, you got to go. Because that team should never be mid-table. Even that team there, even if Pogba and Martial were out for the season, it's still not a mid-table team. That team should still be finishing 7th or 8th. If it's mid-table, there's a problem with the coaching. So Ray, I think you're right. Ollie needs time. But as long as he's operating around 4th to 8th, he'll get the time in the fans' mind. I think as soon as he wanders down to mid-table, you're saying, yeah, but look, all right, you didn't get the signings you wanted in the summer. And yeah, you've had a few injuries, but you should still be in the top half of the table. And that's something that, you know what, Arsenal have got Lacazette out for the month. So injuries are going to happen. And I think the word naivety does get mentioned a lot around Manchester United. And I think it's a very valid point because with regards to United and naivety, we are so naive. I wouldn't even say we're naive from a business point of view. I think it's all about saving money. But the injury crisis, I've been speaking to people today when I've been out on social media, talking to some of the lads from the United stand, and nobody has said the words, we're really unlucky with injuries, because fans aren't stupid. And the board shouldn't be stupid, and the coaches will not be stupid because they're getting paid to be successful, right? Manchester, I haven't heard anybody said, oh, we're really unlucky with injuries to Pogba and Martial and Shaw. We're not unlucky. We get a lot of injuries. And we probably buy players who pick injuries up. Now, I was talking to Chris from Redmen TV in the week, and we were talking about injuries. That's a Liverpool channel. And we were talking about something totally different. We were at an event, and we were talking about injuries. And he was on about the injuries to United, taking an interest, empathetically, which I hate. I hate Liverpool fans who feel sorry for us, because we used to do that to them. And it shows you how far we've fallen. But he was saying, I said to him, the thing about you, Liverpool, you're so lucky. You never get injuries. And he said, no, it's not luck. Our owner, I think it's Henry somebody, isn't it? Used to own, or does own, the Red Sox in America, who adopted this Moneyball approach. And the Moneyball approach is all about, it's a formula for buying players, really. You look at their statistics, how many games they've played, how many times they've been injured, and you buy those sort of players. And basically, they were going to sign Nabil Fekir from Lyon, and he's now gone to Real Betis. And everyone thinks, well, what? You know, he was actually in photographs. They were that close to signing him, and he had a medical. And basically, his knee injury that he had his knee rebuilt with real life human cartilage, and you can have it done with, I suppose, artificial cartilage. And the one that's most likely to recur and cause another injury is the human cartilage one. So Liverpool were like, well, look, the physio was like, or whoever's doing it was like, he might never have a problem again. It might happen in 2 years. It might happen in 3 years. It might happen next month. There is a risk there. And Liverpool were like, no, sod it. We won't do it then. And that, to me, is about, I keep talking about Liverpool, I hate it, but the structure of the way Liverpool have built something over the last 3 years. You look at people like, I don't know, Wijnaldum, and Jordan Henderson and Mo Salah and Bobby Firmino, if they've looked at those players and gone, they're good players, but also from 17 years of age, they've hardly been injured over the last 6-7 years. Well, look, you know what? If Pogba's only going to play 75% of the season, but you could have had Bruno Fernandes who would have played 100% of the season, it doesn't matter if Pogba's a slightly better player. Sell Pogba, bring Bruno in, because he's going to play every game. We ain't operating like that as a club. We're not operating like that as a club. Everyone thinks it's all about, oh, we didn't buy midfielders in the summer. That is a big part of it. But it's also the recruitment of the last 6 years. And it's not just, oh, Di Maria was a flop, such and such was a flop. It's not just about that. It's about the players that we buy that then end up getting injured a lot. And I don't have anything against those players. You know, I think Luke Shaw's been very unfortunate after what happened to him with that leg break. But Anthony Martial picks up injuries quite a lot, and he's very young. Paul Pogba always picks up an injury. And I'm not saying we should have refused signing those two players, because I like them both. But ultimately, we do pick up a lot of injuries. And it's either because the players we're buying do pick up niggles, or we've got a major problem. And I think this may be the nail on the head. We've got a major problem with our sports science, or whatever you call it, because we've been getting injuries for ages. Did you see any underlying philosophy from Ollie or possession without purpose? Do you see an underlying philosophy from Ollie or possession without purpose? Says Ben Goodman. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, just like you, Ben, and just like me, if we were manager of Manchester United, we would have a philosophy. My philosophy, if I was Manchester United manager, would be get the ball on the ground, be aggressive. I'd want players who are aggressive. I'd want to keep the ball on the ground. I'd want to use the flanks. And when we're down the flanks, I'd want to get men in the box. It's very much what Sir Alex Ferguson used to do. I like to use the width. I love the width. I like wingers who can run at people. I like midfielders who want to gamble and get in the box. And I like putting the ball into the box. That's what I like to do. That's my philosophy. Doesn't mean I could go and manage even bloody Maidstone United, let alone Manchester United. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's philosophy, as far as I can see it, is he wants his centre backs to split. He wants to play out from the back. He wants his midfielders to support both sides and cover the middle as well, but be tenacious and press. He wants his team to press. He wants to get the ball back from back to front very, very quickly. That's his ideal way of playing, but as I said, I've got an idea of how I would play. It's implementing it. We've all got a great idea. We're all treble winners if we're Manchester United managers, but actually implementing it is going to be the key issue, isn't it? Siddhant Pisardi says McTominay has to step up tomorrow. He is the one responsible to carry the ball from the midfield. Unless Fred starts, which won't happen, I don't see us winning unless McTominay turns up. I don't think Fred will start tomorrow. I'd be very, very surprised. Zayn Miati says, Mark, you accuse Pep of having an open checkbook, but when he was the manager at Barcelona, he created the best football ever seen in club. No Barcelona manager after could replicate that. I don't want to talk about Pep Guardiola, Zayn. I think sometimes you get a little bit lost that this is a United fan channel. So, and I've warned you so many times, just because you're making super chats, I ain't going to take us off on a tangent to talk about Pep Guardiola and Barcelona. It's the United stand. But let's not forget, Pep Guardiola had Messi. It makes a big bloody difference. Do you think that Rojo will start at left back, says Colso Selipi? Only, I told you to only blow the bloody doors off. He will only play if Wan-Bissaka doesn't play, because then Ashley Young will shift over, won't he? Because Delo's out injured as well. But just talking about what was being said there about McTominay, I was reading an article from Robbie Savage today, and he does talk some sense and he does talk some crap, don't we all? But he was saying that United need to make 3 signings, and he was talking about the sort of Bruno Fernandes, James Maddison, an attacker. But he actually mentioned in his article, I heard all this talk about a holding midfielder, but United don't need one. And I was like, oh my God, Robbie. Like, we were literally talking about this last night on this show. I think it's the most important position in the United team. That sort of Carrick role, who takes the ball from the back and feeds the players in front of him and shields the team. Like, we haven't got anybody to do that job. There's an expectation that maybe Fred could do it. There's a realisation that Matic cannot do it. And there's a hope that McTominay could do it. But we don't actually... Watch Ndidi tomorrow. Watch Ndidi tomorrow and you'll see what a CDM should be like. Like, it literally is. Speed, tenacity, moving the ball from back to front quickly. We desperately need one. And if the club don't think we need one, we are in trouble. Matic, Fred, Gomez, Greenwood striker, if only, says Zalem Price. Well, you've ruined it with the word Matic in there, but, apart from that. And Lee McGawkin says, Mark, Liverpool get plenty of injuries. Alisson, Salah, Keita, Gomez, and plenty more. I think it's just coincidence we have so many right now. I totally disagree with you, Lee. Go back the last 6-7 years. It was even happening with Alex Ferguson. Look at the period between September and November and have a look at how many injuries United have. It happens every year. It's normally to our centre-backs, but it happens every single year. As for Alisson, that's like, everybody gets injuries. But Manchester United, we're carrying 5 major injuries here. 5 major injuries, like Pogba, Luke Shaw, Martial, Delo. Who else is? Well, Lingard and Wan-Bissaka are carrying injuries as well. Eric Bailly is out as well long term. So look, we're always carrying loads of injuries. And to be honest with you, there's the proof in the pudding. Eric Bailly is probably one of the worst signings United have made in relation to that recruitment assessment. He is Mr. Injury Prone, right? Are you telling me either we got really unlucky with Bailly, but come on, I guarantee if you went and had a look, and I don't want to be proved wrong on this, so I'm not going to guarantee, but I would expect if you looked at Eric Bailly when we signed him from Villarreal, and you go back through his professional career from 17 to when we signed him, I bet he's had loads of niggles. And this is what I mean. We're Manchester United Football Club. We never should have bought Schweinsteiger. And I was there. Yes, it's the video's there. Look at my reaction when we signed Schweinsteiger. Oh, I was like, yes, best signing ever, because I love Schweinsteiger. And as a fan, I'm allowed to not research every single player's physical history. That's not my job. As a fan, I'm allowed to be like flippant and go, yeah, we've just signed him, we're going to win the league. But look at Schweinsteiger, who was carrying injuries for 2 years before that. This is why I didn't want Toby Alderweireld. Now, he's not actually been injured for a while, but for the last 2 years before this last year, he was picking up a lot of injuries. It makes such a difference. There's no point having Lionel Messi if he's only going to play half your season, every season. You need players to play games. It's not rocket science. Ray Cowley says, our board are poor and Ollie experienced, so no winners unless Ollie can, and I think we'll step up and start a real new rebuild. Look, Ray, I think United fans are hungry for that. And I think that's why I've seen a lot of people frustrated today, because we don't want to see that team on my left. What we want to see tomorrow is, as I said this last night, and now reality's going to bite. Reality's going to bite for you lot, because what did I say last night? I didn't know. Let me just read this comment from Salim Price. He says, Bruno and Sancho higher than them all on FIFA 20. Laugh out loud. Don't know what you're laughing at. They're good players. But I said last night, before we knew all these injuries to Pogba and Martial and Lingard and Wan-Bissaka, I didn't know this yesterday. But what I said is that I would rather we played a couple of the young players against Leicester and draw than play the likes of Matic and Mata and win and scrape a win. Because long term, Matic and Mata will lose more games than we will with those young players as they grow through. Tomorrow is that opportunity to do that for Ollie. Tomorrow is the opportunity to do what I want him to do. I would love to see Gomez and Chong start tomorrow. I would love to see Greenwood start tomorrow. I'd love to see all three of them start tomorrow. And I would love to see us, put on a good performance and just be like brave. And I would take a narrow loss. I would take a draw. I would. I know people think I'm an idiot and you're lying. I guarantee you I would. I don't think I'm ever going to get to see it though, because we will see. He's already said it in the press conference. He's going to roll out the pensioners. So, yeah. But we got to be very careful. We've got to be very, very careful tomorrow, because I'm not going to tell anybody what to think. I never do. But if we get beat tomorrow with Matic and Mata, I sort of agree with anybody who goes mad, because there is an opportunity tomorrow to be brave and play players that are here for the future. Even a Pereira or a Fred, there's an opportunity to try and start building something with players who are actually in their 20s. Matic and Mata don't offer that. So, and as I said, if he goes down the experienced route, it's just a number. These players were picked last season and they didn't step up to the plate. Like, what did Matic and Mata do last season in the last 3 months? Nothing. They let us down. They let us down. So why we make... That's the best thing I can say about this, because I never feel uncomfortable talking negatively about players, because that's just what we do as fans. But I suppose that's the most obvious thing to say, really. Why would you pick Matic and Mata and Young tomorrow and say, oh, because they're experienced lads and they deserve their chance? But then after the Everton game, when I think a lot of those were playing, or they were definitely playing in the last 3 months, we were losing games and he's going, a lot of these players won't be here, but I will, and I want to build something. But then here we are in a new season and we're still using the same crap tools as last season. Like, I think that needs exposing tomorrow if it goes the way that some of you are predicting. Because where is this rebuild? Like, you've got loads of injuries. Where is the rebuild? Like, surely in adversity comes the opportunity to be brave. And that's all I want to see. We could pick a starting team from the injury room, says Sean Atwood. We bloody could, mate. We could. Pereira, Fred and Gomez. Yeah, look, there's ways to be really exciting tomorrow, but I expect it to be that team there. And I think that team could get a result, but it's more about where we're going as a club. And I don't see with that team any difference from last season. To me, that looks like a team from last season, apart from Wan-Bissaka and Maguire and James, who are good signings. But the core area is always going to be the midfield, isn't it? And what I would say as well is that, I don't want to... I think I've said this before, haven't I? I mean, I'm very, very lost for words, but I just don't know. I always quote the moderator Paul Robinson on this. I just don't know what we're doing as a football club. I don't know what the board are doing. It makes no sense to me what the board did in the summer. As I've said before, every year we've been in the Europa League, we've always spent loads of money to try and get back in the Champions League. They didn't do that. 60 million net spend, probably the worst net spend we've had. I don't know what Ollie's doing, because he talks about using youth. He says the youth's ready, but he won't use it. And he keeps going back to the same failures like Matic and Mata. And I don't know what this season's going to deliver, because I already feel that it won't be long before fourth is out of... I mean, like, fourth place, hopefully not. Hopefully we get a result tomorrow. We get a result against West Ham and we get back into the race. But, you know, we could conceivably be in October going, fourth has gone. Like, fourth has... Manchester United Football Club and fourth has gone. Like... And I wouldn't bet against it at the moment. Like, it sounds ridiculous, but I wouldn't bet against it at the moment. So there's a lot of uncertainty at the moment. And I think anybody who tries to pretend that there isn't is very optimistic. Anoop Alyapan says, I just prayed Greenwood plays on the right wing tomorrow and puts in a good performance. I'm sure he will if given a chance. Then he will be getting more ahead of Lingard. If Mata plays, I don't want future, Ollie thinks. The trouble tomorrow, Anoop, is whether Greenwood starts or whether Dan James starts. Ricardo Pereira and Ben Chilwell are brilliant fullbacks. Like, Leicester are a very, 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 very good team. Their midfield is very good. Their centre-backs are sound. Their keeper is sound. Like, they're a very, very good team. It's such an interesting game tomorrow. Is Matic, etc., naive or just scared to play youth despite his promise? Is he wanting experience or afraid for his job blooding youth players? I think you mean is Ollie Ray. I think it's a great question, and I don't really have the answer to it. I don't know what is preventing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer from picking Fred or Pereira or picking Gomez or Chong. I don't know. Maybe, and I always try to find the positive with Ollie, maybe he doesn't think they're good enough. Maybe he doesn't think they're ready. So he has, even though Matic and Mata are just not good enough themselves, maybe he thinks they're better than... Well, he must think they're better. Because otherwise, why would you pick players that aren't as good as players that you've got? He must not believe in those players. I suppose that's the horrible thing I don't want to say. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer clearly doesn't believe in Gomez and Chong and Greenwood and Fred and Pereira if he's going to go and pick Matic and Mata. It's obvious, isn't it? You know, we can skirt around it. We can have a little barn dance if you like. But the reality is, if he goes ahead tomorrow and picks Matic and Mata over Fred and Pereira and Gomez and Chong and Garner, he clearly thinks those players are better. And if he's right, if he's right, because he could be right, then you're looking upstairs again, aren't you? Because we already know that Matic and Mata aren't good enough. And if that's the best we've got, thank you, everybody upstairs. And all I ever see is Ander Herrera walking out with a sad face from Old Trafford with his carry bag. He never should have left. We've got a couple of super chats coming in. Zayn Mayasi, Mark, there is no rebuild. Glazer's just waiting to sell it for lots of money with minimum investment. It's sad to see. Same with Arsenal. Also, we have Laurel and Hardy running both our clubs. The thing about that is, Zayn, I think that's one of the better things you've said. When you look at United, Lukaku and Sanchez out, so they're saving money there. Herrera out, saving money. You know, not spending much in the money in the summer. They're saving money. But the flip side is United are sinking as a club. So the value of United is dropping anyway. So for every million you're saving by not spending, you're losing it in the value of the club dropping. I don't understand what the board are doing. Maybe there's better business minds than me who knows what they're doing. I just think they are non-football people, and I include Ed Woodward in this. He's not got a football background at all, and he gets too involved in football as a businessman. I just think it's non-football people putting people in place in the football positions that they can manipulate who are inexperienced, and they're hoping for a miracle. And Sir Alex Ferguson was so brilliant that he achieved with hardly any resources compared to like what Pep gets with Man City. But Ali ain't going to do that, and Mourinho couldn't do it, and Van Gaal couldn't do it. So we're getting worse and worse and worse, but we're spending less and less and less. It's a weird situation, but I think ultimately, until proven otherwise, I just think we've got people in charge who don't know what they're on about. who are expecting a bounce back. Oh yeah, United are going to bounce back at some point. They're the biggest club in the world. Well, no. I and many millions of fans support this club, but we know the reality. We ain't bouncing back from anything. We're a bowling ball. You chuck us on the floor and we make damage, and we try and push our way down to the cellar. We ain't bouncing back at the moment, but I think there is this expectation that we are going to bounce back. And, Ollie says we're on the right track, we're on the right direction. Not with that squad. It needs 300 million on it, at least. So until you can talk about the right direction, but at the moment that team ain't good enough. Pogba's gone in a year anyway. Your midfield is the polo, and you're not going the right direction because you don't know who you're getting in, if you're getting anybody in. So it's, as I say, it's very, very confusing. Mark, either way, you still get angry and rant, even if we lose with the youth. It's going to happen, I know it, says George Ramos. George, you don't know me at all, and I refute that completely. I wish there was a situation tomorrow where we saw Gomez start, we saw Greenwood start, we saw Fred start, and we had a really good game, but we lost 2-1. I wouldn't rant. I know I wouldn't. I would rant and say, you've got to stick with that team. Stick with that team. That is the future. That is a rebuild. You've got such a low opinion of United fans that you think, if we lost tomorrow with the kids and Fred, we'd all rant. I didn't see Chelsea fans ranting after losing a 2-0 lead to draw 2-2 at Stamford Bridge with Sheffield United, because they can see the vision. After 6 years, I think United fans will be patient if we can see what the vision is. The trouble is, the vision that we're getting isn't a vision. It's bloody deja vu of a nightmare that we saw last season, if you're going to play that team that's on the left. Anupal Yapan says, when will we start a movement or start reacting to the non-footballing boardroom? Because if we don't, I surely think we will soon be mid-table. Now we've lowered our expectations. It's a good point, Anup, and I keep getting people having a crack at me saying, you should be doing more. What am I supposed to do? What is the United stand supposed to do? I don't like the owners of our club. I think they're dragging us down. But, I don't buy merchandise for Manchester United. When was the last time you saw me wearing a United top? Even the ones I bought over a year ago, I don't wear it anymore, hardly ever. I don't buy merchandise. That's my opinion. You lot can do what you like. But I don't buy stuff anymore because I don't see the point. Whether, even if the new Adidas top is nice, I don't see the point in putting the money into the club when they're not putting that money into the manager sufficiently to get us back where we need to be. But it's a personal choice. You can't dictate to people what to do. Old Trafford will be packed tomorrow because it's a 3 o'clock kickoff on a Saturday. So it'll be packed, but it would be packed any day. It's always going to be packed. So I don't think there is a solution. All you can do is say what you think. That's all you can do. And I've explained this many a time. Anyway, I've overran a little bit because I must just say, and it's always a personal choice, of course it is. Please do like the video, says Vandy Candy. Yes, please do. So tomorrow we'll have the road trip as usual. Flex driving up to Leicester with his thoughts. So that'll be around for your coffee in the morning. And then we're going to be live at 2 o'clock with the team news, which is going to be very interesting, all the way through till full time, match reaction, fan cams. It's a big day for United tomorrow, a very big day. So join us. Make sure you subscribe, bottom right hand corner. What I'm going to do now is something I was meant to be doing at 7:30, but I had major issues with the recording system. I've got a channel called the Mark Goldbridge channel, and I normally upload a video on a Tuesday called Going for Goldbridge, where I answer people's questions that aren't football related. So I'm going to go and do it now as a live stream. So if you didn't know I did that, the link's in the video description. I'm going to be live there in 2 minutes, Going for Goldbridge live, where I just answer any questions, and it's not all about football. So if you want to join me over there for a few minutes, you can do. If not, I'll see you on here tomorrow for the team news. Thanks everyone for watching. Please do smash a like on the video. We've just hit 1,000 likes. De Gea's going to sign a new contract, which is great as well. Join me on Going for Goldbridge. I think you'll enjoy it. Links in the video description. Speak to you in a minute.